Hi there, welcome to Healing After Infant Loss. My name is Rosie and I'm so happy you found us, but I'm also so sorry that you are currently going through infant loss or pregnancy loss. I myself have experienced 2 miscarriages, 1 missed miscarriage, 1 late-term abortion, and also IVF and embryo freezing, so the chances are that I probably know how you're feeling right now. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or any of those things, a nurse or anything. I am just someone who has lived experience of pregnancy loss, and I'm here to support you along your journey. I started Healing After Infant Loss because I've shared my story on YouTube quite a bit, and I always get people reaching out to me wanting help and advice, and I always feel a little bit stuck and not quite sure what to do to help. And I feel like the past couple of years I have really been on a huge healing journey, and I now feel at a place where I am okay and I'm okay enough to help other people as well. So that's where Healing After Infant Loss comes in. It's going to be a website which is currently live. It's going to be a YouTube channel with yoga classes, meditations, talks with different people, sharing their stories, doctors, things like that. But also just videos of me talking about my experience and also different aspects of infant loss. I'm also hoping to do a podcast, and there's also going to be a blog on my website as well. My website also has a list of resources, including podcasts you can listen to, books that you can read, and Instagram pages to follow. I'm also going to be sharing stories on there as well if there are people that are brave enough to share their stories. I'm really hoping to open this conversation to infant loss more broadly because I feel like it's not spoken about enough. And when I went through my kind of situations, I felt very, very alone and like nobody understood. I was the only person in my friend group to go through such a thing, and I just felt like nobody could possibly understand what I was going through. So if you're feeling the same, I understand, and I'm so sorry you're going through this. It truly is the worst thing to go through, but if I can do it, you can do it too. So I want to welcome you to Healing After Infant Loss community. I'm hoping to build a group of people here who can support each other and help each other through this tough time. So every week I'm going to be releasing a new YouTube video talking about pregnancy and infant loss, or I'm going to be talking to either an expert in the field or somebody who wants to share their own story. Or I'm going to be sharing some healing modalities such as yoga, meditation and mindfulness, without the woo-woo side of things, but also without the scientific side of things. I am just a regular person. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not anyone with any sort of professional skills, but I do have lived experience. I have been through this myself, and I really want to share my healing journey in the hopes that it might help you with your healing journey as well. So at the end of every video, I'm also going to be sharing an affirmation that you can repeat to yourself throughout the week, and also a book recommendation in case you want to dive deeper into that topic. So wait until the end of the video to hear the ones for today. The purpose of Healing After Infant Loss is to gather a group of people who have all been through similar situations, to share our stories and to help each other on the healing process. If I tell you a little bit about my story, so back in 2016 I got pregnant for the very first time. We had been trying, and I found out on the Friday that I was pregnant. We kind of celebrated and talked about it and everything over the weekend. My husband went away for work on Monday, and on the Tuesday morning I woke up bleeding heavily with pain, and I just knew I was having a miscarriage. Went to the doctors, went and did a scan, and they said there was no heartbeat. So I took 2 days off work and grieved, and then basically went back into normal life and kind of swept it under the rug, didn't give myself time to heal properly, got pregnant again pretty soon after. And then in April, when I was around 5.5 months pregnant, we did the 20-week scan, which was actually about 22 weeks. Found out there was lots of issues with the pregnancy. The baby had Ellis van Creveld, which you can Google if you want to, but it's basically a really rare form of dwarfism that affects lots of different parts of the body. And our baby had a very severe case of Ellis van Creveld, which meant he had 6 fingers on each hand. He had heart problems, lung problems, bone problems. There was just lots and lots of different issues with the baby. We were told that we'd probably have a stillbirth, and if the baby did survive pregnancy and come out alive, they would then probably die within the first couple of days. And if they even survived that, they would probably end up needing lots and lots of surgeries and die soon after anyway. So we thought the best thing to do was to have an abortion to end the pregnancy, and I know abortion is very, very controversial, so if you are not supportive of that, you can go elsewhere, because I really want this to be a supportive community of people who have been through similar situations. So we ended up having the abortion at 26 weeks, which is roughly 6.5 months, and it was the most traumatic, awful thing I've ever been through. I was literally living my nightmare. It was my actual nightmare that I went through. I was then depressed for about 7 or 8 months, to the point where I I considered suicide, and I was very, very in a deep, dark place. I could not see the light at the end of the tunnel. I couldn't see the way out. I just felt like I was drowning and I couldn't come up for air. And it was really, honestly, a scary time of my life. We then moved to Miami, Florida, because my husband had an opportunity for work, and I feel like that's when I then started my healing journey, because I got involved with the spiritual community in Miami. So I went to daybreaker events, I went to yoga, I went to cacao ceremonies, meditations, human connection events, women's circles, lots of different experiences. And I feel like every single time I healed a little bit more and a little bit more. And at the time I had no idea that yoga could essentially heal or make you better or kind of move the trauma out of your body and help with the healing journey. I had no idea. I was just curious about yoga. Every time I sat to meditate, I would end up crying and sobbing, and it obviously just released some of this kind of pent up emotion that I had that I hadn't released yet. So that's when I kind of found my healing journey over the next couple of years. I did lots of different, like I said, lots of different yoga and meditations and all these different things without really realizing what was happening. I didn't intentionally go out looking to heal or looking to help myself in that sense. I didn't think it would help at all, to be honest. I was just curious, and it honestly did wonders for me. Then in 2019, I got pregnant again and had a miscarriage when I was in Cuba at 8 weeks pregnant. Obviously in Cuba they don't have many resources, so finding things like pads and painkillers was a little bit of a nightmare, and obviously we were there on holiday for my husband's birthday, so I was trying to visit and also having a miscarriage. So that was a weird situation. And then I also had a missed miscarriage in 2020 during the pandemic. I was about 11 and a half weeks, but the baby was measuring 6 weeks without a heartbeat. So I realised then I'd had a missed miscarriage and the baby just hadn't continued growing, but my body hadn't realised. So I still felt pregnant, I still had sore boobs and all the kind of pregnancy symptoms that I would have, even though the baby had stopped growing. And then soon after I passed the baby and had a miscarriage. Then in 2022 I decided to do embryo freezing with my husband because I felt the pressure of having to get pregnant and having to do that whole thing, because I was getting to the age of 35, but I didn't want to have a baby right there and then. I still wanted to travel and see the world. So we did embryo freezing in London, which cost about £15,000. It was really expensive. It was also very scary because IVF means injecting yourself every day, and I really didn't enjoy that whole process. So I've been through a lot, honestly, in terms of this whole fertility journey. I still don't have children. I don't know if I ever will have children at this point. That's a discussion for another day, but that's just a little bit of a rundown about me. So like I said, I've had 2 miscarriages, 1 missed miscarriage, a late term abortion, IVF and embryo freezing, and I currently have 1 frozen embryo somewhere in the UK. So we did it once and got 1 good egg, well, 1 good embryo, which is obviously not the best statistics. So we didn't try again, and now we are currently out traveling, but that's again another story for another time. So if we get back into the healing after infant loss, the mission is just to provide support and resources and like a friendship to people who are also going through this. So like I said on my website, I have book recommendations, podcasts, Instagram pages to go and follow. I also have information about different healing modalities like yoga, breathwork, meditation, affirmations, journaling. There's a page of information, and then there's also some YouTube videos that I recommend that you kind of watch and follow along with. And it's just for people who are not into that world but maybe want to discover a little bit about it and maybe want to learn a little bit about the holistic healing ways that you can help yourself. I'm also going to be providing YouTube videos and blog posts and Instagram posts and all that good stuff, so make sure you follow me kind of everywhere. The other thing I want to do with this platform is to do some learning on my side. So I did my 200-hour yoga teacher training in 2021, which is trauma-informed, accessible, adaptive, size-inclusive. So it has been a couple of years since I did that, but I did teach yoga for a little while on YouTube. It was called Zen Den. I'm pretty sure you can still go and find it on there. So I really want to provide yoga classes for pregnancy loss and also meditations and kind of healing modalities. And I also want to learn more about holding space for infant loss. I don't want to be a therapist, but it's more about being a peer support so that we can hold group sessions and invite people from the community to come together and talk about whatever they're going through and have a safe space of people that actually understand what they're going through. Because I know that when I went through all this, like I said, I felt so alone. I felt so disconnected from everybody because I didn't think anybody understood what I was going through. So I felt very alone and very isolated. So if I can help other people feel less alone, that's ultimately the goal of this whole thing. So if this sounds like something you might be interested in, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. You can also subscribe to the newsletter where I'll be sharing blog posts and information and all the resources that I come across, including book recommendations and affirmations and YouTube videos and all these good stuff I'm going to try and bring forward and provide for free. And then hopefully soon I'll also start providing peer support groups so that we can get together and talk. So with that being said, the first affirmation that we have for this week is, in this safe space, I find comfort, understanding, and the strength to heal. So I'm going to say that again. In this safe space, I find comfort, understanding, and the strength to heal. And honestly, having gone through this, especially the abortion, it was literally the worst nightmare. It was the worst time of my entire life. I really didn't think I could get through it, and I have. And I'm now living a very happy, very fulfilled life, even without children, even having gone through that, literally the worst thing ever to happen to me. I've gotten through it and I've survived and I've come out the other end. So if I can encourage you to do the same, you can do this. I know it sounds really, really hard. It seems impossible, but you can get better. You can get through this and you can enjoy life afterwards. So the book recommendation of the week is going to be Empty Cradle, Broken Heart, Surviving the Death of Your Baby by Deborah L. Davis. So this book is essentially a guide for those people who are experiencing infant loss. The book provides personal stories, practical advice, and coping strategies to help deal with the grief of these circumstances. So I really hope you join me on this healing journey. If you would like to do a 20-minute yoga class for miscarriage, you can click here. And if you would like to do a 5-minute meditation for miscarriage, you can click here. Otherwise, you can subscribe, and I hope to see you in more of my videos. Bye.